Hello, my name is Ruben Parra-Cardona, and it's a long name because I'm from Chihuahua, Mexico, and it seems like in Mexico we really love long names, but you can call me Ruben, and I love going by that shorter name. And I'm an associate professor in the Department of Human Development and Family Studies and associate director of the Michigan State University Research Consortium on Gender-Based Violence. And I really thank you for this opportunity to talk with you about a manuscript that is in our website. Because this work is very close to me, in terms of its relevance, but also the opportunities that we have to address a very important issue in the field. The title of this work is in Spanish, En el grupo tomas conciencia, which means in group you become aware. And it's about Latino immigrant satisfaction with a culturally informed intervention for men who battle. Before I go into detail about the video itself, I really want to acknowledge the critical role of people that made this work possible. I have had the wonderful opportunity to work with amazing colleagues and our graduate students, and one of them already graduated from this program, Rocio Escobar, Kendall Holtrop, currently at Florida State University, and Georgia Carpenter. At the same time, we were supporting the very beginning of our looking for funding for this project by David Garvin of Alternatives Against Domestic Aggression and Richard Tolman at University of Michigan. As we progressed our work and started to expand collaborations in the city of Detroit, we met really wonderful people in the Community Health and Social Services Center, CHAS. Dolores Gonzalez Ramirez, who was the initial advocate for this project, she passed away, but we are deeply grateful for her contributions. Dolores Hernandez, who's currently the director of La Vida program, and Ricardo Guzman, CEO. And last but in no way least, I want to thank Efraín Zamudio. Efraín Zamudio is an amazing community leader who started this group, culturally informed the group, and continues to run the group regardless of really intense funding limitations. So what's the background of our study? Our study is basically an evaluation of this culturally informed version of better treatment programs for Latino immigrants, Spanish-speaking Latino immigrants. And what's the context of this? Well, regardless of the intense rates of intimate partner violence in the Latino population, many of whom are really difficult to identify because of several issues like documentation issues, language barriers, etc., the provision of culturally informed services continues to be truly underdeveloped. And there's some debate in the literature in terms of how should we structure these interventions for Latinos. Some scholars say that if we address issues such as gender-informed and gender-based perspective, that could end up being disrespectful towards Latino populations. Other scholars challenge that notion and express that there's a need for truly gender-focused interventions. That's where our work comes in, and our expectation was that this intervention really grounded in the community and with a high percentage of volunteers truly offers something unique to participants. So that's where we volunteer to collaborate with these very strong community leaders in terms of fully understanding what these men were experiencing in these groups. So the overall results in summary, the major thing, we conducted a qualitative study with 20 men who completed the program. And the overarching theme, based on the common experience of men, is a beautiful theme that they express, en el grupo tomas conciencia, in group you become aware. So rather than me summarizing their voices, I selected a few voices that truly describe that. So what does this mean, becoming aware? One man expressed, in group we talk about domestic violence, the way we are with our partners, like not respecting them, not letting them go to places, not even letting them go to the store, And this is where violence begins. When you start making threats to your partner, such as, if you don't do this, this will happen to you. That is where violence begins. So these men talk about group as a place where they started to see, where they started to become aware. And then they talk about change as a lifetime challenge. As these men express, group has helped me because I was not concerned about my partner. I was only concerned about me. So I basically set lies to the side, I set my ego to the side, and I have recognized that change is about me. It is me who needs the help. This theme was very dominant among men about the need for personal change. As another participant said, I used to think that I was not responsible for the violence. I would blame my partner for the violence. But when they force you to be in this group, you eventually end up realizing you're living in error. I realized that I was the only responsible for the violence. So this phrase is particularly impactful because men talk about how in group gradually you start to become aware. Now, a limitation is that this could be men talking the talk rather than walking the walk, right? The indicator, limited, but an indicator we had about men engaged in a process of change is that recidivism was absent for all of these men in a period of 18 months. However, we know for rigorous studies that reports from survivors and relatives are a strong indicator of whether men are changing or not. Men address this issue because one of the dominant themes that came up in the study, the importance of demonstrating change through actions, not words. And associated with this, it was really interesting how men by themselves started to talk about the issue of machismo. How would I define machismo? Well, machismo is violence. It is violence because you need to have what you want in the moment you want it. Like telling my wife, do this right now, and if you don't, I'll hit you. So it's wanting things to be done the way you want it. To me, that's machismo. And you want to do this to your wife, siblings, and to others. In resonance with this, another person said, we feel superior to our partners. That generates violence. That's why we come to this group, to talk about us. If we want to change, it should be because we want to change, not because we want our partners to change. Our partners should not change for us. They are our partners, not our objects. They are not our property. We talk about all this in group. Men also talk about the critical role that group facilitators had in promoting that process of change. As one participant said, group leaders go directly to the root of the problem, and they will give you homework so you can work on your issues. And every time you come to the group, they will ask you about it, and they will remind you that you need to do it. They will take this very seriously. They are always looking for progress in everyone. So men talk about the importance of feeling supported and understood by group facilitators, but men were very clear that if group facilitators were not firm, they could just manipulate them, because that's what they do in the violence that they exercise. They dominate, they manipulate others. Now, a theme that was particularly important was, as you see in these previous themes, men really challenged themselves as a result of being in a group that challenged them, as a result of being in a group in which group facilitators had a gender-based perspective and challenged them. But at the same time, something really important in our findings was that facilitators also fully understand the life experiences of men, fully understand the importance of cultural values, of sense of community. And one man talked about how important was for group facilitators to understand this, and how liberating it felt that in a group for abusers, they were also able to talk about the oppression they were experiencing. Like this man expressed, we need to talk in these groups about racism in the US, and not to hide it. There are many ways in which you can be traumatized by being in the US. Employers treat you like you're an animal by working to 10
11 hours per day. I don't like this because we are all humans. We're all equal. Even though we're treated like we're worthless, we have given a lot to this country. We just try to be honest people. So what? That's a critical question after we conduct our research. So what? Well, the first implication is that in this debate whether having a gender-based perspective can be disrespectful of cultural values, men themselves are telling us that the gender-based perspective was a critical component to help them see the violence they were inflicting on others, and that a strong gender-based perspective was critical to make a change. The program is known as Raíces Nuevas, which means new roots, which is a culturally informed version of the Duluth model of creating a process of change for men who battle. So the whole curriculum is built on the Duluth curriculum with a culturally informed lens. As you know, the Duluth curriculum has a very clear gender-based perspective, and it's one of the pioneering models in the field in terms of ending intimate violence according to a gender-based perspective. This study, the voices of these men, tell us that curriculums such as Raíces Nuevas, an extension, a culturally informed extension of the Duluth curriculum, was extremely beneficial, was extremely critical in helping them to change. At the same time, men are saying that we truly need to look at those cultural values, traditions that can help them change, and also we need to look at the stories of oppression that are contributors, not the cause for their controlling behaviors and abusive behaviors, and that's an issue of individual accountability, but also how critical is to look at the context that is dehumanizing these human beings. And integrating all these findings can be challenging, particularly if we've been working with survivors, but it's necessary if we don't want ourselves to perpetuate silencing the voices of others. I truly thank you for this time that you have allowed me to share briefly our study with you, and I would love to keep the conversation going once you have the opportunity to read fully our work as it is described in our publication. Thank you so much. Muchas gracias.